Hi, Jesse.
Hey, David. It's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you as well. How are you this morning? Doing some vCISO stuff?
Yeah, we got the farm chores out of the way here. For those that don't know, I have a little hobby farm, so I pepper in a little bit of agriculture with my vCISO work, but got those out of the way. Yeah, working on some vCISO stuff, processes, procedures, new things for our power grid community. Yeah, and excited. I think every time I see you on LinkedIn, you're in a different country. So I don't know how you find the time, man. But where are you today?
Today I'm in Israel, but last week I was in London, and I think in 2 weeks I'm going to be in the US.
Okay.
Yeah, but providing virtual CISO to chickens and cows, I think it's more complicated than traveling in the world.
Yeah, there's definitely some parallels. You gotta deal with risk. You have to think about contingency plans. So yeah, with all sorts of good double entendres we could make there.
Yeah, yeah. I only have two dogs. Nothing for. Actually, one of them is very loudy, so certainly help us to secure our house.
There you go. There you go. It's the
Yeah,
the early
yeah. Security by animals.
it's like the
Okay,
honey
so
pot.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Jesse, actually several questions for you, and maybe the first one is what was the aha moment for you, realizing the virtual CISO is the thing, this is something that is missing, and you want to actually to build your empire?
Yeah, it was an interesting journey. People always ask, how did you get into vCISO or into offering these services? And I kind of say it was like a tumble down the stairs. So let me kind of flesh that out. I was the director of infrastructure at an MSP. I had worked there for several years, helped them move from 5 people to about 50, built many different cloud, VoIP service offerings for them, and had become kind of the de facto security expert. So in 2014, they came to me and said, hey, we know you're looking for that executive title. We want to make you the CISO, and we'd like you to build our managed security program for us. And I said, hey, that sounds awesome. How hard could it be? Right. So um, quickly went to work, took my technical mind and built out a really good security stack, used a framework, aligned all the controls in the framework, right? All the good things that we're taught to do. Brought that to market and quickly realized that nobody wanted to buy it. So this is 2014. And I think security conversations are hard enough today. This is 10, 11, 12 years later now. But back then, people didn't even know what the heck a vCISO was. They didn't know what cyber was about. It just seemed like, nobody wanted to buy it. So was losing money in the practice. And it was the first real failure, I would say, that I'd had in managed services. And so was bleeding cash. We weren't getting success. Sales was getting frustrated. So went back to the drawing board and kind of looked at like, what is this vCISO thing? How does this work? And that was really the aha moment, as you said, and said, okay, this is the why. This helps explain why we need to do these security controls. This is the risk framework for the decision-making process for controls. So designed a vCISO offer and then relaunched the program. And we actually went and said, hey, we're going to include vCISO with all of our cybersecurity services. We're not going to make it an option like, oh, hey, here's this vCISO on the side. You should probably do this. It was like, no, here's the vCISO. There's the leader of the program. They give you the why. They help you choose the right controls for your business. And then we'll decide what controls to use based on your risk profile. And that was really like the unlock that happened, right? So once we did that, clients started saying, oh, okay, this makes sense. I want to sign up for this. Even if we were doubling their spend as an MSP, they'd say, okay, this makes sense because we understand this is a new world. It's a new problem. You're just here to help us. And we made that switch from just selling tools to becoming a strategic advisor. And, that really was the beginning of the hockey stick curve for our cybersecurity program.
Yeah, great. It's always first the aha moment, and then how to implement it and make a big business out of it.
Yeah.
And maybe the second question is, after this aha moment, you spoke about this hockey stick. So
Mm-hmm.
what are the steps that you implemented in order to take your ideas and create a real virtual CISO business?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I coach MSPs to do in the power grid is we have to segment our client base. I think sometimes I see providers get shiny object syndrome. Like we're working with manufacturing and we want to go now sell to SaaS, or we want to go sell to SEC regulated clients because they have a need, right? But that's so far outside your normal area of expertise, it's going to be a big lift to get there. So what I typically coach people to do is start in concentric rings, and start with your current clients, find adjacent clients, and then once you've got your process down, you can expand into bigger and new markets. So pragmatically, what does that look like? I want to do a segmentation exercise with all of my current clients and identify what security services are we doing for them today? What regulations or compliance do they have to adhere with today? Are we helping them with that? And then rating the clients, I call it a cyber openness factor of 1 to 4, right? Will they kick you out of your office or out of their office if you talk about cyber, or are they asking you about it? And then a friendliness factor of, what are the results we're getting for them, and what are the results that they're giving to us in terms of profitability? So I want to find intersecting points between all of those in a segmentation exercise and identify like this alpha ring of clients, maybe 5 clients that we can go talk to about these services today and start to launch and work with them and have them, be our friends in terms of shaping the service. Almost like, hey, we're building this service out. You're going to get a discounted price, or you're going to help shape the service. And so we'd like to work with you. And then you can expand out from there. And then once you've got your feet underneath you, then you can really start to say, okay, now that we have this process and this program built out, we're going to go define a new market segment and we're going to attack that and start expanding our playbook there.
Yeah, great. I guess that you have different types of MSPs that you are trying to help. And every MSP has a different type of pricing and packages and bundles.
Yeah.
How do MSP, which till now they didn't have any virtual CISO consulting service, how do you think they should bundle? Is there a difference between MSP to each other? And what is the process and understanding how to offer it to the customers, how to price it, how to bundle it?
Yeah, it's interesting because in the work we do with training MSPs and other service providers to not only build vCISO programs, but to improve existing vCISO programs, I kind of get to see a broad scope of archetypes of people that are delivering these services, right? So first you have your vCISO practitioners. They're not doing IT services. Their main business is vCISO, and they're looking to gain efficiencies in their program, right? Then you have MSPs who are either new to the vCISO game or want to offer vCISO services, and they're looking to build out a practice. And then you even have larger consulting shops that are looking to make the switch from smart man consulting, trading hours for dollars, and they want to get into a productized MRR service model. So, but across all of those, I think we can build there's different problems, but we can actually find some aligned points of ways to productize and offer the service, right? So I always want to use like kind of a SaaS approach, and you being a SaaS guy and a vCISO guy will understand this. Is I want to define, and this goes back to our segmentation, right? I want to define the smallest set of features that my market segment wants that are similar across the board, and I want to create my base level package with that. And that is things like incident response planning, risk assessments, policy, quarterly risk meetings. Those are things every client's going to want, right? But then when we start to segment into packages, because we can make that more affordable, that low base package, then we want to think about our compliance models. We start segmenting on how many different compliances do they have. And these are all MRR add-ons to the package, right? We want to productize this in a SaaS consumable model. But then we want to look at the compliance model. Is it a shared compliance model or a managed compliance model? And I think that's a good way to split your services as well. So shared compliance, think example would be like an SEC regulated company who has a chief compliance officer and somebody who's working on their SEC compliance. They already have kind of a motion for compliance in their organization, and you're just really aligning the cybersecurity strategy and controls with that compliance structure. That's a shared model. You have somebody on the other side to go action your recommendations and kind of run with that in the organization. So obviously you can provide that cheaper. Then past that, you have your managed compliance model. They're not doing anything. They need you to go do the audit prep, talk to the auditors, help gather evidence. That's a much bigger lift. So you're going to have a higher package for that. So in that way, you can create that layer of total addressable market packaging for everybody, and then stack onto that with shared compliance models and frameworks. And I think that's a really good way to package and make your offer meet your clients where they are and create like what I call a conveyor belt of clients to start bringing them along in the journey.
So actually, you offer virtual CISO for every company, for those which want only the basic cybersecurity, let's say lighter layer to bring them
Mm-hmm.
some basic stuff, and then for those that require some compliance to bring them compliance, for those that would need advanced compliance and maybe advanced cybersecurity to give them more services. So actually to have a different types of bundles for every company and to create like a cybersecurity journey for
Right.
from a very, let's say, non-mature company to the most mature company.
Yeah, and people don't believe me when I tell them this, but the one client comes to mind is back in 2015 when we, launched this program for the first time. I think we had a nonprofit who was like a 20-person nonprofit who is, people sometimes say nonprofits are notoriously tight with their money, but guess what? They have a board structure, they understand governance, and so they didn't have regulatory needs, but we were able to sell a lighter style strategic vCISO offering to them. And they were just one example of clients that didn't have regulatory needs that signed up for it because they're like, hey, we get this. And we understand that you're giving us just what we need to help shape our strategy, provide a roadmap, and guide us into a more resilient business.
Yeah, so Jesse, I guess that if I would like to summarize our conversation and maybe connect it to the first question about the aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
My aha moment as Cynomi founder is that I want to provide a CISO or virtual CISO or AI automative CISO to every company on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And you are saying with the MSPs, I can actually do that by providing each and every company of the
Yeah.
MSP portfolio some kind of a virtual CISO, which actually takes my aha moment, your aha moment, and make it a synergy out of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, two aha moments to create a virtual CISO for MSPs.
Love it, man.
Thank you so much, Jesse, for your time. It was really great to talk with you.
Always a good time chatting with you too, David. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye bye.